All right, we're back. So we're just gonna get straight into it. So, game one, Randy's on the mound, and he immediately gets into trouble. He ended up walking 3 in the first inning. I forget, but I think he ended up getting the bases loaded for Dansby Swanson. Randy was at 22 pitches, and that's when he was gonna face Dansby Swanson. And I think Niebla, I don't know who's the decision to make for this, but I think Niebla should have came out before the Dansby Swanson at bat because he was at 22 pitches. But still, I think it was because Randy looked like tired and winded, and he just needed like someone to come out from the dugout just so we can get like a minute to like rest. He ended up getting out of the first inning with only, I believe, 1 run or maybe 2 runs. But a 33 pitch inning, which is really tough. Eventually, Martin Maldonado, he got a home run, which was unexpected. The only run we would get off of Imanaga. I didn't even know we were playing against Imanaga, but we were lucky to get any runs against him. Yep, but Martin hits a homer into the left field basket. Like I've said before, I'm not expecting much from this duo, Diaz and Maldonado. So if we get anything, we'll take it. The 4th inning, Crone got a double down the right field line, and then Martin hit a ground ball, and then Crone, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but like I swear, like Crone, out of all the players on our team, I feel like Crone always gets out on the bases the most. And some of them it's kind of his fault, but some of them look kind of bad. Like this one looked kind of bad. I don't know why he ran, but yeah, he got out and we didn't get a run there. Crone's base running isn't really the best part of his game, to be honest. But the 5th inning, there was like a pitch that Randy kind of got somewhat squeezed on. I'll put it up. Honestly, that kind of looked out to me. Like for some reason, it filled in on the broadcast like it was a strike. But to me, that didn't look like a strike. I don't know how pitches like that are going to work if robo-umps get introduced. Regardless, Randy walked the next guy, and he had 5 walks in total. And he ended the outing 4 2/3 with only 2 hits given up. Which actually, if you take the walks away, it's not that bad. I don't think he did, overall, I don't think he did that bad. He's not one of our frontline starters. He's obviously like number 4, number 5. So I think we should just set our expectations with him. He's still pretty young, so he's still kind of learning. So yeah, I think Randy did just like okay. Like he didn't do great, but he just did okay. Because Yuki comes in with the bases loaded, which is really scary. But Xander and Manny both missed chances to get the final outs that would probably keep it to like a 1-1 or maybe 1-2 or something. Now, first off, Xander's play, it was like kind of a tough dive, so I'm not too mad at him for missing that one. It was a tough play, but then he went to second base instead of first base, even though it was Justin Turner who was running. Justin Turner's like 40 now, so even beforehand, like he's not really that fast. I mean, he was looking the opposite way, but I don't know. I feel like he still like had time to like stand up and go to first base with the throw, because it was like a semi-hot shot, but it is what it is. Yeah, and then Cubs score on that, and then Manny has a ground ball hit to him. And he just like completely misses it, pops out of his glove, and they score another run. That's not a play you often really see by Manny, but that one he would probably tell you that he should have made that play. So, but since we were 7-0 at the time, when you see plays like that, it kind of is like, it like hits differently. Like it weighs on you a little bit more, and it like stands out, right? So. Yuki finishes that inning, and then he does another inning, I think. And I think he did pretty good, so shout out to him. He was one of the bright spots of game one. Imanaga went 7 1/3, 1 earned run. Bullpen did a good job of like keeping it close. It was Yuki, Alec Jacob, and Peralta. They all did pretty good. And then the ninth inning came, and Manny and a few of the other guys gave us like a chance to try to get like a ninth inning comeback or tie the game. But then Crone struck out on the last pitch with guys on second and third with 2 outs. But it's tough when you're on a streak, but it happens. Yeah, so game 2, Tatis struck out to start the game. And I was like thinking, oh shit, that's probably a bad omen. It's only his second time striking out in the season. And then Arise had a double after a tough at bat where he was like battling. We don't end up getting anything out of that, sadly. And then Pivetta gets into trouble in the second with 3 walks. And then he had like, I think the first inning he only threw 14 pitches, and then by the end of the second inning he was up to 50, which is really rough. And he ended up giving up 2 runs. Crone had an error in the third, and it seemed like sloppy defense kind of defined this whole series. I'm going to put up a bunch of clips of our defense in all 3 of these games. They're going to be spread out between the games, but yeah, like all series long was just, the highlight is just bad defensive plays, mistakes that give the Cubs extra opportunities to score. And on top of that, way too many walks. The first game we had 7 walks, and I think the second game we had 8 walks. That's insane. You can't win a lot of games. And the third game we had 7 walks again, I believe. That's way too many walks. You can't be giving up that many walks if you expect to win series. Oh yeah, the inning, in the second inning, Lockridge had a misplay where he looked like he just like miscalculated where the ball was going to go, and he ended up taking the wrong route. I'm not sure if he would have gotten to the ball anyway, but that's just another one of many defensive miscues. And then Arise, I think they had like a grounder to the right side. It was like in between Arise and Crone, and Arise, instead of covering first base, he put his head down and he went to like the spot where if the ball had gone into right field, but it didn't, it went to Crone. So it looked kind of dumb when nobody was at first base. So that was kind of a miscue, or that was a miscue by Arise. And I gotta say, I mean, we did have a lot of hits in all 3 games, so I think the offense is fine. We just happened to have a lot of singles, which and we didn't string them together very well. After that, 6th inning, we had like another defensive miscue. Way too many miscues defensively, which is definitely not our style. Usually defense is one of our strong suits, and it has been for the past few years. And most of these guys have like gold gloves and know what they're doing, and it's mostly the same guys out there on defense, so definitely no excuse for that kind of play. And then in the 6th inning, they kind of blow it open. I think they got 3 runs or something. Yeah, they kind of run up the score. That was pretty much it for game. Oh no, and then Tatis did get an RBI single in the 7th, so that they didn't get a shutout, because they were shutting us out up until that point. So we avoid the shutout, which is good, I guess. And then in the 8th inning, I think we had another error that I'll put up here. And then that's pretty much all I have for game 2. All right, so enough about these first 2 games. These first 2 games, I don't really even want to talk about them that much anymore, because they were pretty bad. Like bad offense, bad defense, bad pitching, just everything that made that 7-0 start so amazing, where like everything was working across the board, kind of all fell apart. Except maybe I will say for the bullpen. The bullpen has still been consistent, consistently good, and consistently great. Excuse me. Yeah, so those 2 games, flush them. It's one thing if like you lose a game, or you lose a few games from, one specific aspect, like maybe your pitching just fails you, whether that be starting pitching or bullpen. You can point to one thing, but it's pretty frustrating, and it definitely can be over magnified, I guess, when you are on like a win streak and you're doing really well, like we were. But then we have game 3 now, so I'm gonna stop moping on these two losses. It's baseball. You're gonna lose some games. Every year we're gonna lose like 60, 70 games. It's just the way baseball is. So anyway, on to game 3, which is by far the craziest game, which is weird to say after these first 2 games, which were already pretty crazy, you know. So here we go. The first, top of the first, Tatis gets on with the walk, I believe, and then we get the bases loaded. Ben Brown of the Cubs, the starting pitcher for the Cubs, he kind of trolls the game. Like, he literally gives us so much. He literally sets us up for like success in the first inning. Rice had the bunt, which was a really good bunt. That, honestly, you couldn't set up a better bunt than that. That had like the perfect high bounce, so no matter what, it was going to be a hit. And then I forget exactly how we get the bases loaded, but we get the bases loaded. Merrill strikes out on like a 3 or 4 pitch at bat. That was not a good at bat. And then he would strike out again in his next at bat. That also didn't look very good, but he made up for it. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, and then Hayward had a good at bat. He battled for a walk. And then we end the inning, we get a 3-0 lead. Then Kyle Hart comes in for his second start. His first start was really good, so he did get into a little bit of trouble, but he was able to get out of it. This time, he's not so lucky. Honestly, this was more like on him than on the defense. The defense did kind of fail him, I think, a few times, and it did kind of troll a little bit in this game. But he kind of trolled himself. The way he was pitching, he just couldn't find. He didn't have any control. He couldn't find the zone at all. Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to explain it. He just literally couldn't find the zone. And I don't think this means like he's gonna be like a bad pitcher from here on out. Like, some people are just like kind of overreacting to the way he pitched. I know he pitched terribly. I think, yeah, what was it, 4 walks and 39, 40 pitches in 1 inning. He couldn't get out of the inning. At that point, yeah, I mean, that's a terrible start. There's no way to sugarcoat it. But I don't think this means like, oh shit, he's really bad now and we have to just give up on him. It's 1 start. You can't just like make 100% assumptions on a guy based on 1 or 2 starts. You have to play these guys out, see how they do, and then go from there. If he does this 3 times in a row, then you can be like, okay, well, this guy, he can't be pitching for us. We got to go to somebody else. We got to go to Waldron. We got to go to Brito. We got to give this guy a few more starts, 2 or 3 more starts. Then we can make like true assumptions on how they're doing. If Kyle Hart had come out here and dealt and been 6 shutty, people would have been glazing him like he's like the best pitcher that's ever come over from the KBO or something. I'm not saying you can't get mad and you can't be mad at him. This was a terrible start. He deserves some flack for it. But we can't just assume that every start from here on out is going to be like this. We got to give him a chance. So we take Kyle Hart out of the game, put in Gillespie. Gillespie, I think he's pitched for us. I think he did pitch for us last year. I don't really remember him for some reason. But let's see. Honestly, he did pretty good. Like, I know when he came in the first inning, I forget if it was the first inning or the second inning, but when he came in, there was like that huge weird situation with the box and stuff. I have no idea what the fuck that really was. Like, my understanding of the whole balk rule is completely, it's weird. Like, I know John Boy just recently did a video on us with Manny, and he did the breakdown of, or Manny's fall, like where he kind of flopped a little bit. And that was sort of kind of talking about balk rules a little bit, and he equated a balk to like a false start in football, and that did make a lot of sense. And I think coming at it from being able to explain it like that really kind of like clears up a little bit of the confusion that many people have with what the hell it even means. And honestly, watching the plays with the Gillespie here, he did say he wanted the windup. We know that for sure, because when the broadcast shows, I'll even put it in this video, the broadcast shows Gillespie like saying, I want to do the windup, and he like does a motion with his hand, and he's telling this to the home plate ump that he wants to do the windup. But the thing is, it did look like he did balk. Like, from what I've seen, I'm not like an expert at what is or isn't a balk, but from what I've seen, I don't think you're supposed to stop. And I don't know, I might put this in there here, I might not. I tried to lip read some of what the umpire was saying, and I might actually put this in the video. I'm not John Boy. I'm not as good, probably not as good at it, but from what I can tell, I tried to get a few lines of what the ump was saying, so I'll put them in this video, trying to like piece together what the umpires were talking about, what they might have been thinking.
Going to his mouth? Is he motioning like going to his mouth, maybe? If you go to your mouth, you're supposed to wipe on your pants. You can't be in contact with your... I don't know whether that's the case. It looked like the third base umpire, Nate Tomlinson, was kind of motioning. Stay tuned.
Well, these conditions, you could understand the guy, And the three umpires that are not talking to Schilt are talking to Gillespie atop the hill.
Okay, now my first thing is, like, I'm thinking about equipment, and I don't see anything regarding his equipment, gloves, sleeves. It must be something.
They're not checking his hands for stickiness or anything like that, or an area on him at all. Okay, he said he didn't stop. I read that much in his motion. So is he balking? Is that the problem? If that's the case, why didn't they call a balk? I don't believe they did, right?
Right.
I think at the end of the day, it was 2 balks in a row. I think it might have been actually 3 balks in a row, because the way the last pitch that he gets out of the inning, he also stopped. So I have no idea, like, what the fuck. He stopped like 3 or 4 pitches in a row when you're not. I don't think you're supposed to stop in a windup, and that was the whole issue. So it might have actually been 3 balks in a row. Regardless, they get 2 balks in a row, 2 extra runs, and it's 5-3. And we're thinking like, oh my God, we're gonna get swept. Yeah, it's just bad times all around. But it's still early in the game. It's only been a few innings, so it wasn't like completely the end of the world. We still had a chance to come back in the game. And so Gillespie, he actually has a decent outing. I want to talk about that real quick. He ended up coming in, I think, with 2 guys on, or maybe 3 guys on. He was able to get the outs. He did allow a 2-run shot to Kyle Tucker, but honestly, besides that, he actually did pretty good. He only gave up a few runs that were earned. He ended up going like 4 or 5 innings, so overall, I'm pretty proud of what Gillespie did. He came into a pretty tough situation and was able to battle out of it. Gillespie did add on 2 walks, which kind of sucks because Kyle Hart had already given up 4 walks, so we were at 6 walks total. Trying to hit that 7 walk minimum mark for the series every game, which I think we eventually got to 7 or maybe 8. I think the total walks for the series is crazy. It was like 23 or 24 or something. Way too many walks for baseball. You can't win a lot of games when you're giving up this many walks. In the second inning, there was a couple plays for the Cubs on defense that were kind of weird. One was the Ian Happ and Pete Crow Armstrong when they collided with each other. They showed the replay. It looked like Pete Crow called Ian Happ off of the ball, but for some reason, maybe Ian Happ said something, but from the broadcast that I saw, it didn't look like he said anything. And he just grabbed the ball right in front of Pete Crow. And that was really weird because I'm pretty sure the one who's supposed to take charge there is center fielder. He's supposed to be like the main guy. Like his word is above like the side left fielder and right fielder. So I'm not sure what the hell happened there. After that, Happ had that weird non-catch where Manny hit a single line drive towards left field. Ian Happ had to dive forward to catch it, and every angle from the broadcast showed that he made the catch and he caught it. But for some reason, the umpires called it that it was a non-catch. It was weird because we were in this limbo of Manny had to keep going and stay at first base. And you can see Manny kind of shove Luis Arraez forward because he was standing on first, not sure, because he thought it was a catch too. Everyone thought it was a catch, except for the umpires. And so in that situation, no matter what, it can't be a double play because the umpires are signaling to the players that it wasn't a catch. So you have to, Manny's right to like tell him to go forward and go to second base. You have to keep going and play up to what the umpire thinks is the official call. So yeah, it was a really weird call, and I'm surprised nothing was challenged at all. I don't know what you would challenge, to be honest, because I guess the result would have been the same. It ended up not really changing much. It just put Manny at first, but it was just like a weird play. And then the third inning had a little weird thing where we had the start of the inning was the Canadian geese in, I forget if it was right field or left field or center. But there was Canadian geese. The broadcast showed a pair of geese that had taken over a section of the stands. That was kind of funny. Maybe that was the good omen for us, because whenever we have the geese, we seem to do well. The rally goose in the series versus the Dodgers, where we ended up beating them. So what do you know? Maybe seeing geese on a broadcast is just a sign that we're gonna win. I don't know. But it was funny to see some pair of Canadian geese. We go on to the fourth inning, and we finally, for some reason, Ben Brown was still in the game. I'm surprised they kept him in that long, because he was pretty much as bad as Kyle Hart. He just was able to get a few more pitches in the zone, and we didn't really take advantage of those pitches, and even though he was giving out a bunch of walks too, until the fourth inning. So we finally capitalized and were able to score in the fourth inning. Manny hit a single, and then finally, Merrill, after having two really bad at-bats, which were basically like 3 or 4 pitch strikeouts, he comes up and he hits like a 2-run bomb to left center field. So another opposite field hit with power, which is really, really good to see. It was a really nice homer, and it brought us back into the game. We were down 7-3, and Merrill hitting that blast made it 7-5, and we were back into the game. Oh yeah, and then in the top of the 5th inning, Arise had an RBI single to right field, I believe. That brought in Elias Diaz, which was funny to see him go from second to home, because he's a big boy. But I was honestly surprised. I thought that was going to be a closer play at home plate, but Kyle Tucker took a while for him to like get the ball in for some reason. But yeah, we get the game to 7-6 Cubs, and then Manny has this really nice defensive play. It's going to be one of the highlights of this season, I'm sure, where he gets a ground ball that's going to his right, and he does like a spin move midair, not really even looking towards first base, and it does like the rainbow U shape. The ball travels like a U, like a rainbow, and it gets to Arise, who it was funny at the end of the game. He talked to Don and Mud asked him like, how did you catch that ball by Manny? You know, how did you stretch out like that? And Arise is like, oh yeah, I do Pilates or whatever. I was like, are you serious? Everyone started laughing. What was hilarious was Mud was like, oh yeah, we should do Pilates. What do you think, Don? That was really funny. But yeah, so Arise basically stretches out to grab the ball, and we're able to get Justin Turner for the out. That was really cool. And then what else happened? And then, oh yeah, Arise, I think the same inning, Arise has that great stretch. Arise also had a misplay where he kind of like dives in front of a ground ball going to his right, and it should have been Crone's ball because I think Crone was right behind him, and he should have gone to first. So he ended up taking the ball that should have been to Crone, and then the guy would have got thrown out because if he went to first base instead of going after the ball because it went off his glove. But we end up getting out of the inning anyway. And then Merrill hits a single in the top of the 6th inning. And so the pitcher throws the pitch to the catcher, and the catcher tries to do a backdoor pick at first base, and he basically fucks up the throw, and it gets past Turner, who's playing first base. And so Merrill was able to get to third, basically with 0 outs. It was a 2-2 count for Crone, but it's basically 0 outs, and we basically don't capitalize on it, which kind of sucks. Bogey does come up, and he hits a grounder, and then Merrill is thrown out at home. I actually don't mind that Merrill ran on this. Kind of needed Bogey to hit something like a base hit or like a deep fly ball, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but whenever I see Bogey come up in like a pressure situation, he always seems to hit like a grounder. And sometimes it works in our favor, but most of the time it's just an out or a double play. And unfortunately, this was kind of more the same. But it's still early in the season, so yeah, not going to make too many assumptions just yet. And then top of the 8th inning, Merrill gets on, and then he steals second base. While he was stealing second base, Bogarts almost gets hit in the head. That was really scary. And, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Bogarts just because of the way he's not really been producing for his compared to the cost of his contract. But I mean, you never want to see that with any player. We need this guy on our team playing every day, regardless of him not living up to expectations or whether he is or not. We need this guy on the field. He's one of the better players. Even when he's playing bad, he's still an above average. He's still an above average MLB player. So we need him on the field as much as possible. That was really scary. Thankfully, he didn't get hit. Gavin Sheets comes up and he hits a line drive over the second baseman's head for a single. That brings in Merrill to tie the game. And so it was 7-7 in the top of the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th was Jason Adam. Yeah, Jason Adam was bottom of the 8th. I think he gets into a little bit of trouble, but he still gets out of it again. The bullpen has still been amazing. That has been one of the shining things about this team all season. They really haven't skipped a beat at all. So really good, and that gives us a chance in the top of the 9th to try to get a rally going to take the lead. Tatis gets on. Arise gets a big hit to move Tatis to second base, and Manny comes up. And so we need Manny to hit like a single or something, and unfortunately he hits a grounder, and it looks like it's going to be a double play to end the inning. And Tatis goes to third, and he kind of looks over to see if Manny gets out at first base, and the dude completely throws it away. Well, no, he doesn't throw it away. Justin Turner kind of just whiffs on this catchable ball, and it gets past him. And so Tatis, honestly, I'm surprised Tatis didn't keep running. Like, he probably knew that it was going to be a double play. He should have just kept going home. But he kind of like stopped to watch around third base to see what would happen. And but it ended up working out anyway. It gets by Turner, and Tatis runs home to score on the error. We take the lead 8-7, and then I had no doubt Suarez was going to come in and shut the door, and he does exactly that. He comes in 10 or 12 pitches later. He strikes out Turner, funnily enough, for the last out, and it was on like 9 fastballs in a row. And we win the final game of the series. It'll be at least a happier flight than if we had lost 3 in a row, right? So for hitter of the series, I'm going to go with, or I guess players are obviously going to be hitters. So I'm going to go with Arise, because that final game was crazy. I think he went like 4 for 5 with a walk. And even like the earlier games, I think he got a couple hits too. So it was a really good comeback series for him, and he brought his average way back up, and it's really nice to see him get a bunch of hits like that. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Arise for that. Worst player, I'm going to also do worst player of the series, or I guess someone who needs to step up, and I think I'm going to give that to Bogarts. I don't really want to give it to him this early, because I did say he was probably going to have like a comeback season. But unfortunately, his average is dipping. His OPS doesn't look good either. And honestly, his at-bats don't look that good right now. And then on top of that, the defense, he had like 2 or 3 defensive plays that I think he probably could have made, and he didn't make. So I'm going to give it to Bogarts for just kind of like worst player of the series. And that doesn't mean he's a bad player. overall or whatever. I'm just saying, like, this series, he probably played he was like the least contributor to winning. He honestly should take, like, he has more of a higher responsibility to do well than a lot of other players, because he's getting paid more than a lot of other players. So that's that. Final thoughts. The offense, I'm just gonna say, like, the offense, or honestly, I'm not too worried about the offense. We did have a lot of hits in every single game of this series, and we actually out-hit the Cubs in two of these 3 games. So I'm not too worried about the offense. We did hit a lot of singles. I would like to see us hit some more extra base hits. That would be like my only concern, because Manny and Xander and a few of our other guys don't really have any home runs. So yeah, we need to hit some more extra base hits. On the pitching side, the rotation, we need Yu Darvish back, I think. It's not desperate times yet, but we definitely are missing him, because he'll bring a more consistency than Vasquez and Kyle Hart will bring. So we definitely need him back soon. I have really no problem with anything Schilt's doing right now. I think Schilt's doing a fine job. There's maybe 1 or 2 things I wouldn't agree with what he was doing, but like, they're minor things, like when to bring out Ruben. I mean, again, I don't even know if that's his call. I'm assuming it's his call, but maybe just Ruben comes out when he thinks he should, or maybe Schilt tells him when to go out. I'm not sure how that works, but maybe he should have brought him in. I think he should have brought Ruben out a bit sooner on a few occasions, but that's like really minor. I think Schilt's doing a fantastic job so far, so no real complaints with that. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it this series. Not a lot. Honestly, there wasn't that much to talk about this series until that 3rd game. Upcoming thoughts on this Athletics series. I think we have to bare minimum win 2 of these 3 games. Obviously, you like the sweep because it's the Athletics, but it's baseball, so you have to kind of give a little bit. You can't just assume that you're going to win every single series you should win. And yeah, so I think we got to win at least 2 of these. It's going to be a road series and a couple of night games, followed by a midday game. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think we'll pull this out, and we'll be able to come home and play the Rockies and the Cubs again at home. And we're still undefeated at home, so hopefully we can continue that, right? I'm probably gonna have a new video coming out on Wednesday, maybe Thursday, recapping the Athletic series. And yeah, that'll be it. I'm not sure. I might post a short or 2. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Have a good one, guys. Take care.